I've lost everything. All my presets are gone. Oh, why? Looks like I have to do some rework on them. Or recreate all of them. This sucks. That's bad. That's really bad. Come on, bro. Ah. There was an update on my Windows and somehow everything is fucked up. So Lightroom is fucked up, my desktop is fucked up, everything is fucked up. So I don't know exactly why, but this sucks. This really sucks. Damn. But anyways, I will do a preset from scratch today, so it doesn't matter. I can do this by the rest of the week, recreating them. I already tried to find them with some recovery tools, but they're gone. Like they never existed. So, let's see what we can get. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, because if the music is too loud, just let me know, because for me it is a little bit too loud, I think. Let's see. Doesn't matter too much, so I would say let's start right off. The pictures I am working on this week now, or today, are from the last weekend, from Sunday, sorry. Yeah, it was Sunday evening, so late Sunday, and I hadn't much time because I can't shoot at night at all with an APS-C camera, so it doesn't work for me, and now days are getting shorter and shorter. So I would think, yeah, I would try this shot at first. So what I'm trying to do today is getting some sort of a moody look, maybe faded, but on the warmer side. Because I already made one and I recovered this preset before, so because my history on all the shots I've done before is still there, and some presets exist in the history, so I will go through them and pick them out from there. So there is a faded one I did in the last stream, or no, it was in the first stream, right? So it's this preset. It's kind of more on the colder side, so for this one I would say let's try something like this, but maybe a little bit warmer. Not sure if this shot is the right one for this, but colors, it's already a bit warmer than mostly on a rainy day or overcast day, and I prefer shooting in an overcast day, so let's get this started. As I mentioned before, everything is fucked up. Normally I have this all the way over here. Yeah, that's better. I extend this bar, also this window, because you get a little bit more of a sense of the sliders and it feels more natural, because otherwise they are very tiny and you don't get the feel of the change. So with a little bit more of a bigger window, this gets a little bit easier, or it feels more natural and better. So first of all I want to do here in this shot is I want to warm this up a little bit. So basically I'm on here 5750, okay. Let's go with 6.1 for a start. So not too much, just a little bit. And I will bring the exposure down first. I will come back to this later on, but now I will go a little bit down with this one. And that's because I wanna really fade out the shadows and the dark areas in my image, or for this preset. and I don't touch the contrast now, so contrast should be there where it is. I will do this later on with the tone curve. For the highlights, I would say I will bring them up. For a starting point, maybe something around 65. 65, that's good. By double clicking the little slider, you can reset it, just click again and you are at the same spot. So that's how I do back and forth. Of course it extends your history, but I don't care. With the shadows, I leave it by that because my shadows are already pretty dark in this one. The whites I bring a little bit more up, but just a little bit, maybe plus 20, not even further. And the blacks, yeah, down to a minus 10, not more. Texture, yeah, I do some texturing just to give a little bit of extra sharpness. Let's see, plus 40. Yeah, that's okay. And with clarity, I go to the negative side because I want to get some kind of a blurry effect. It should be still sharp, but it also should be kind of blurry. And how to get this look, I will show you. So for vibrance, maybe that's not the best shot for this whole thing, but we will do this on more shots, not only on this one, so it's a back and forth process, just to balance out this preset a little bit more. So now I'm doing some basic settings on this one, then jump over to the next one and move on from there, come back and forth, doing this a few times, and then I should have a preset that is workable for a few shots and not only for one. So dehaze, I don't touch it yet. Maybe we do some dehaze later, but not yet. Vibrance for this shot, that's a good question. Okay, I want to have less colors, but I bring up the vibrance to about the plus 15 on this one, and the saturation I take down to a minus 25. This should be good. Yeah, so it's desaturated but slightly saturated, or a use of vibrance, just a little bit, not too much. And I would say I leave it by that. I don't touch the tint yet, maybe later, but mostly I work on temperature, and if I see there's something wrong or not correct with colors, I will change something later, but not yet. So I'm happy with this one. Let's get over to the tone curve, and of course also this one has changed, so let's reset it. And I always work with the point curve, so never do it with the parametric curve, because I don't like it. I just don't like it. So it's personal preference, but I love to do my work with the normal tone curve as it should be. And let's drag just a simple S curve, so that's something you see in most of the edits, or people are doing some editing. I will do this here too, just a little S curve, not too much. And by holding down Alt or Option on your Mac, you can do even more precise adjustments. So if you hold Alt or Option on Mac, I mean, you can't see my mouse movement yet, but you can do some really fine adjustments in your tone curve here by just holding Alt or Option and moving around your point. So if you are a person who is looking for the little tiny extra detail, use it. It's very cool. And of course we said we want a faded look, so I bring this up here, maybe to output about 25. Yeah. And I'm also bring down my highlights. So what this does is it shrinks down my dynamic range of the whole image. So the darkest part of the image is now, it was there, now it's there. So every information below is now gone. So there is nothing more information below that, so it gets faded out. And I would say I leave it by that. So just this little tone curve thing can change your shot so much. And if you don't know what the tone curve is, I can do some little tutorial for you. It's not too complicated, but you should definitely give it a try, because there are people out there who can do their whole edits just with the tone curve and without touching anything of this, because the tone curve controls everything of this, and also in colors. Also the hue saturation sliders, everything is in this tone curve. And that's so crazy. I mean, you have the RGB channel. Not using it too much, I only do it for all channels, and this is just for contrast. Hey Nelson, what's up? How are you doing? Glad you made it. So tone curve, I'm done with that. Maybe I come back later. It's nice to hang out here, right? So how was your day? Also this, everything has changed in my Lightroom. This sucks so hard. Normally I got many presets here, now I have 3 because I recovered 3 of them, but everything else is gone. This hurts, because I put a lot of work in them. But no worries, I can do them all again, because I have time. No, I don't. So, hue saturation sliders. Hue, saturation and luminance, sorry. It's as the name says it by itself. It's just the hue, so the appearance of your color is you can shift it. With red you can shift it to a more pinky look or to more orange, and it's always the same for each color. So red you can drag to the orange side, or to the pink side. The orange you can drag to the yellow or more to the reds, and so on. So this helps to cancel out some colors in the images. Mostly, I do it mostly for the greens. So I turn my greens in a street shot to 99% completely to the left. I don't wanna have the leaves to be that green or something, so I turn it back to appear more yellow. You can't get out any greens, but a little bit of something. Oh, family day is always good. Even if it's busy, but it's funny always. Yeah, moody greens are the best, but I'm aiming for the blues somehow. I mean, my last shot had a lot of greens in there, but somehow, I don't know why, but mostly I turn out the greens, because I don't like them too much, and I'm red-green colorblind, so maybe that's another reason for it. So, what I also do is, aqua's mostly reflections. We have some reflections here, but aquas are mostly reflections, maybe on a car windshield. That is just, or that appears white. So if I change this, there shouldn't be too much of a difference in this reflection. Yeah. A slight difference in the histogram, but almost nothing. So not many changes are there, but I turn this over to blue. Yeah. Saturation, because of this background. Let's see how it gets affected. Yeah, if I bring up the orange, of course, I get this here, maybe this there, the buildings, but it's more a yellowish color, yeah. But this can be interesting. Working a little bit on the yellows with a little bit of a faded look to the whole image. Okay, I'm bringing out the reds now, because I don't wanna compete them too much with my yellows or oranges. Maybe. And this is just the saturation, so not doing too much of luminance now. Just trying to balance out my colors a little bit, but not too much. So most of the change will come when we are here. The greens, yeah, not too much of a change, but now in this area, I don't take them out completely, but -70. Yeah, not too much of a change. Aquas again, I don't touch them at all. Blues, now it gets interesting because we want this image to be more on the warmer side. I bring down the blues and I bring down the purples and the magentas to 0. -75 maybe for the blues, that's always a good number. And now I'm trying to get the most out of my yellow-orange tones in the background. The problem is, I think I don't have too much images with this sort of editing. Okay, so the yellows, yeah, I will bring them down. I wanna bring down the orange too, but not too much. Okay, reds. Let's say -15 for the reds and -25 for my oranges and maybe a -35 for the yellow. Yeah, this looks good to me. So greens, yeah. I bring them down to -50. Yeah, should be fine. Aqua, I leave this aqua thing because yeah, I got something here on the shoes on the reflection thing, but I don't care too much. Maybe a little bit up to make this just a tiny bit of a pop, yeah. Blues, don't have too much of a blue in this shot. Yeah, I bring this up to just a +50. There is not much of this purple thing going on, and I think not too much of magenta, yeah. Good. I think I will leave my HSL stuff now. By this, the red I bring a little bit more to the oranges, and the orange a little bit more to the yellow. Maybe a 20, and then we should be fine. And the yellow to a -10 to orange. Yeah, this looks kinda good to me. Before it was a way too bright and it was kinda distracting, so I tried to turn down the colors a little bit in lightness and also to bring back the attention more to the subject. So this was the main goal for me on this color editing here, because if you look at this is so bright, of course the contrast is really good, but it's too bright to have this sort of color in the background in comparison to the subject in front, because your eye is always jumping back and forth and they don't know what's going on, or they want to know what's going on but they don't know. So, and that's much better to look at in my opinion, so it's already not bad. Let's close the HSL tab, and now I come into split toning, and this is where the magic will happen. And because this shot is already very warm, I'm not sure if it's a good idea if I do this now in this shot, but let's try it. So Lightroom or Adobe, they announced a new tool for Lightroom, and I think this will come in the next few months. At the moment we have the split toning. It's like color grading for highlights and shadows, but they introduced a new split toning system. It's now called the color grading, and then we get highlights color grading, shadows color grading, and midtones finally. So we finally can edit our midtones too, and this appearance will also change into a color wheel. So I saw that yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday, and it looks just so good, because for the opportunity to finally change midtones, because you have the ability to do that now, but it's a little bit of a workaround to get there. So, but having this option right here and changing the midtones is perfect. And I really hope this gets soon in our hands, because you can just do some really fine adjustments now. But with this one, it's just changing highlights and moving one saturation slider to somewhere to almost the midtones, and same for the shadows, and then you get something of both, and it looks kind of weird. So it sucks. It's okay, but it sucks. Yeah, that's right, Nelson, and it looks really promising to me, so I hope they roll this out very soon. But first I have to fix my presets, because as you can see, all gone. I was like, when I opened up Lightroom, like, what the fuck? And it asked me to create a new Lightroom catalog. It asked me to check my saving folders, everything. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. I just opened up my Lightroom today. So also my desktop is completely messed up. There was an update on my Windows computer, and now everything is kind of weird. So I need to check this the next days, what's going on. I also tried to recover my stuff with a recovery tool, but it looks like my presets never existed, so I can't find deleted files with the name of my presets, so they're gone somehow. This hurts. This hurts a lot. But anyways, working on presets is fine and I like it, but yeah, maybe. So I tried to release another preset pack now in November, but with this, so it was more than halfway done, and now it's gone. And I'm that genius, I forgot to save or to back up my files, because I was like, hey, yeah, I saved it in my Lightroom catalog and they're good. No, if I reload my backups from a few days ago, they're not in there. And I turned on the option that is right in here. Just a second. Yeah. I also turned on store presets with this catalog, and they're not in there. So what is this option? Well, it's kind of frustrating, but I will get over this and do some new presets. So I don't care too much about it. It's just a little bit sad because I put some work in it and now it's gone, but it's something I can recreate because I know them, and a few of them I have already stored on my history. So the history is still there on all the shots I did in this catalog, the history with all the adjustments and presets I've used is still there, so some shots have these presets in it and I can grab them from there. So, but I'm not doing this today because it takes time and I'm doing a live stream and don't want to waste your time. So I think I will jump now to another shot because this kind of editing I can't do too much here on this one because I have already these colors in it and I can't see how it will look on another shot. So what I do is I'm creating this preset with all the settings and I call this just street test. So there it is, and now I will jump to my next shot. Let's try it on this one, and I really love this shot. It's not 100% sharp, but it turned out really great, so I like this one. So that's the shot. Okay, that's the preset. That's right, no program is perfect, but it should. It should be perfect after so many years, in my opinion, or at least a problem like this shouldn't exist. Because it's a tool for photographers, and if you lose your stuff, it's not good. Thank God I'm not doing this for money or for as a job, to be precise. So where did I stop? Okay, I did the HSL stuff and I already did this stuff. I warmed the image a little bit up. What I'm trying to do now, maybe we get some more of a cinematic look in this shot. So by pressing Alt or Option on your keyboard and just dragging the hue slider, you get a preview with 100% saturation. So if you're doing this, just holding down Alt or Option and just drag the slider, it should do something. Yeah, it's doing something. You can see how it changes. Makes life a little bit easier. And just to get kind of a look how it could appear, so I always do that at first, just pressing Alt, dragging it around and just thinking about which colors. Maybe I like that. And I wanna listen to something else. So now I'm bringing this a little bit up because first I wanna see the change with the color, and I will turn this and back later on and balance it out a little bit more. So I think I will bring this up now to, yeah, that's quite good. And for the shadows, now I'm thinking about going for this orange teal look or not, but it's so overused. I don't know. Maybe orange on orange? The shadows a little even darker, maybe this one. Okay, I'm really losing other colors here. That's something, I don't know, split toning is something I can spend hours in it, because you can do so much with it, but you can also overwork your files. It doesn't feel right, this shot, in my opinion. Let's try it with the blue. Yeah, now we have this orange teal look, but I don't want to have an orange teal look for this shot. Maybe. I'm balancing this more to the right. My highlights. No, I don't want this pinkish look. Not green. I stay with orange to almost yellow. Somewhere around there. Okay, I like that. And what I'm doing now is I bring down my temperature, because if I'm warming up already the image with temperature and also adding orange and orange, it gets too orange. Yeah. This looks good to me. Looks way better as it was before, so here is the before. That's the after. Yeah, that's better. Love that. So now I'm bringing this up to maybe a plus 16, just to balance this out a little bit more. Okay, it doesn't look too bad to me. So it's very one-sided color-wise, but that's the look I wanted to create with this preset. So maybe I bring in the tone curve a little bit more to the left, to the right, sorry. Because there isn't too much information below there. Doing this now for this shot, and then I will have a look at some of my other shots here. But that's not too bad. Now let's try some other stuff. First of all, if you did some, or if you're creating presets like me in this case, doing a little bit of editing on one shot, now then creating the preset and then exporting it to another shot, you can easily update your preset by just clicking on this preset you created with your right mouse button and then update with current settings. By doing that, you have just updated your preset with your current settings, and all the changes you have made now are now on the preset. And then we work from there. That's how I build up my presets. But for this shot now, I'm trying some simple editing on this one. So first of all, one thing I do very often is I'm creating a radial filter if you shoot on overcast days, because you get a very flat lighting, and I introduce a light source, because you don't have that real light source in your image with an overcast day. Of course, light is coming from above, but all these clouds are working like a huge softbox. So what I do, creating a radial filter, zooming out for 1 to 4. Of course, in this shot I have a little bit of a foreground in it, but I don't care now. This is just for demonstration, just to show you how this works. Okay, make sure your mask is inverted, and that's how I want it. Yeah. And this makes your shot on an overcast day more dynamic. So it gives you, without this one, it looks kind of flat. It doesn't look bad because there is light coming from the right side of the shot, or it looks like there is some light source on the right because it's brighter on the right as it is on the left. But with introducing another light source to our image, with this one here above, of course it's too bright, you can play very nice with the dynamic, or with your shot, how dynamic it should appear. And in my opinion, this makes a lot more sense to the image itself, because without this it looks kinda dark and it doesn't make sense at all, but that's because of my framing. But bringing this in, I can lighten up the background here a little bit more and make this shot more believable and not just kinda dark and flat. So what I can do too here for this shot is coming in here, and now I'm cropping it just for Instagram. Instagram is always 4:5. So if you crop your image and you wanna say, hey, I wanna upload this to the gram, just come in here to your cropping tool and check 4:5. And that's the right Instagram size. So there is nothing else to do. If you upload it, just zoom out and it's the perfect size, if you don't know that. And yeah, with this one, to be honest, I'm pretty happy with this shot. Maybe what I want to do here is, because of this light, not sure if I can get kind of that effect, but I'm just trying here. Not really. Maybe with the hue slider. Nah, it's too bright. Doesn't matter at all. So I just tested something. Didn't work out either. So I put in this radial filter here on top just to make the shot a little bit more dynamic, and now I put another radial filter in my shot, and this goes right onto my subject. So like this one here, it's this car, and now if we come in here, what I like to do is to paint in a little bit more of the details of the car. So for this case there is some reflection going on. What I'm trying to do is first invert the mask, of course, and let's see what we can get if we put some clarity on it. First of all, always make sure your subject is selected with the mask and not anything else, because if your mask is outside your subject, you get some weird halos after doing some editing. So let me show you this, what I'm talking about. So brush stroke. So now the mask, by pressing O on your keyboard, your mask selection puts up in a red overlay. If you're pressing Shift and O, you can switch your colors. So if you have a very red image or a very green image, you can just switch the overlay from red to green to white and to black, I think, and that's everything. Or all the colors you need. So mostly I work with red or green. Sometimes white if I'm doing it on a weird area, but in this case red is okay, I can see that. And now if you're doing now some editing on this one, and I see this a lot, and I mean by a lot, so many times, where you can just say, hey, this guy masked there something, and this subject has some weird corners, and that's always, if the masking is not done correctly, it looks weird and it makes your shot kinda awful and not good to look at. So what I'm trying to do now is just showing you what can happen by doing some weird settings. And this is just for a test now, so I pull this out completely, but if you're doing some, let's pull off this mask, yeah, and you can see it clearly here around the subject. We have the same edit settings like here on the car, because of course it's a radial filter and the red is also on the outside. So what I'm doing, go into my brush and pressing Alt or Option on your Mac, this gets you already into the eraser tool, and make sure you check Auto Mask. So Auto Mask is checking the brightest and darkest areas, so it's looking for some corners or some contrast points and puts there let's say a line, and says, okay, I mask out this area, but because this is white but this is black, I don't touch black. That's how it works in a simple way. So what I'm doing here, by pressing Alt, I'm just painting this out very slightly, just a little bit, and that's all you have to do. Of course, if you have some colors that are matching with each other, it needs a little bit more work, but it isn't much more to do, and some people are just too lazy to do this, and it makes a huge difference. Because let's say, where was that? Yeah, just here, and I painted it out, and it looks much better because the subject stands out even more. Oh, you didn't know that, Nelson? Sorry, I haven't seen it because my glass was right in front of the chat. Do you mean the editing thing or the mask thing? Changing the colors of the mask? Or I'm quickly grabbing a coffee, just a second. I forgot about I made one before. Just give me a second. So, I'm back. Well, I learned about this feature maybe a few weeks ago with changing the color, because I clicked accidentally with just Shift and O, I don't know what I did, but then it was green and I was like, what's wrong? Is Lightroom broken? No, it isn't, you can just change the color. Hey Andrea, how are you doing? Haven't asked you so far, sorry. Why are using a radial filter instead of brushing the car? For one reason, because it's easier. It's less work, because if you are... Let's do this from scratch. Because this car has some different shades, more variety of colors, and I had to paint this in with my paintbrush and also with auto mask on to get my corners selected, but also inside my subject there are different colors, so if I paint over this thing, I don't get the best selection out of it, because some parts would be missed by the brush because it says, hey, no, that doesn't match with this color and not with this color. So it's faster and easier just putting a radial filter over your shot or your subject, and just come into the brush, press Alt, and then paint around. For me personally, it's faster and more consistent. Because if I do it the other way and just I hope this works on this image because this is very one-sided on colors, but let's try this out. So here with the brush, and I do some little editing here. Make sure auto mask is on. Now let me click on this one. I turn on the green mask for this now, and now I'm going to paint here on my shot. And as you can see, I turned on auto mask, and because the colors here inside this one are matching sometimes better with the outside of this one than like this right corner here of the car where I'm painting around. By deselecting it, it paints outside. And with a radial filter I don't have this problem. I don't know why, but it works more accurate in my opinion. So I always do it with a radial filter, 99% of the times. Maybe not if it is some sort of a weird shape which isn't too good for a radial filter, but I don't know which shape should this be, so but I mean, some people would paint it, but I prefer always the radial filter because I just have to drag it over, get in, first of course invert the mask, get it to my brush, make sure auto mask is on, and I just have to paint around my shot very slightly, and it works better. In my opinion. And it always depends somehow a little bit on the shot too, because some shots are which have very even colors. It's mostly better you paint from start with just a brush and not a radial filter. But mostly I try both to see which works better, and then I take one of those two. So, I'm not sure if I have exported this now, or I think I did, but doesn't matter, I just do it twice. And now I'm looking for a shot where I can work even further on from this preset. Let's say this one. It's not the best shot, but it's okay. Yeah. That's something what I'm looking for. So this really darker tones here, this should be really black or very dark on the sides. Also concrete should be darkened, but also warmed up, so we're getting there. What I now want to do, I want to work a little bit on the highlights, because this could be much better for this shot. So first of all, I'm cropping this because this top sign up here, this is just a distracting thing. I don't want that. And if I take a shot, I'm not sure if you're doing that too, but if I take a photograph, I already have the crop in my head for Instagram. I don't know if I am the only one, but I think you do that too. So let's see. Okay, the highlights. I'm not sure if I can do too much with the highlights for this preset because it gets blown out. I will try this now with just bringing them up. This works too much on some other areas that I don't want to touch, so I think I have to work much more on my tone curve. So okay, it's just a little bit, so I bring this back to 50. Zooming out, and I'm trying to introduce a little bit more whites. 35, okay. And maybe... Okay, no, I don't do anything with the blacks. Don't touch them, so maybe I can get some of the higher midtones now a little bit more to shine.
Your voice echoes in my mind.
Okay, that's not there. This doesn't look too bad. Yeah, that's almost the point I'm looking for. So again, by pressing Alt, we can do some finer adjustments. Yeah, now we're getting there.
Your voice echoes in my mind.
So at the moment I'm looking, or I pay close attention to the umbrella. And more on these areas here, the brighter areas, just to get out these tiny little details and make them a little bit more shine. So if we take a look back, let's see. Looks much better, because if I used highlights on this area here on the streets, they will just be blown out. But by using this here, this technique with the tone curve, I managed to get a little bit more of a precise adjustment. And now I'm trying to bring my midtones maybe a little bit down, and also these highlighted tones. Is going on, so I want to see which area is affected. Okay, it's this area on the street here. Let's see what we can get out of this. So, yeah, bring them slightly up. What this does, I get a little bit more of detail in here. It's not too bad. Yeah, this works not too bad. So, and now I'm going to touch my midtones here. Yeah. Now the darker areas to round this up. Too much?
Your voice echoes in my mind.
Okay. I think the tone curve is done. I think. Okay, I really like that. So let's say street test, update with current settings. Thanks a lot, Nelson. Of course this preset will be available for download after the stream. So every preset I do in the stream will always be available for download. So the last preset I've made is still available to download. I said it will be only up for a few hours, but to be honest I was too lazy to delete it. So it's still up. You can get it if you want. So, and if we look before and after, it looks good, in my opinion. Of course, this thing here is distracting, so I could crop in a little bit more, but overall, it doesn't look too bad for me. Of course, it could take a little bit more refining because it's losing a lot of detail in the darker areas, but I said I want a faded image, and that's how you make a faded image. You get rid of a lot of details in your shot. So I already forgot it, but I updated again because I'm not sure if I did it, and I had a rough day, so a lot of work to do at my job. Let's see. Yeah, I think without a fade, it doesn't has the same feeling with the shot. So yeah, as you can see, pull it out and it looks too dark, but with the fade, it looks right. I mean, it's still, I lowered the exposure before to minus 0.67, so if you look at this, I will brighten it up maybe just a little bit. I won't stay at minus 0.67. But for a starting point, I mean, it doesn't look too bad and it works pretty good so far. But yeah, this was the cooler shot. Sadly, there is a shitty car. With a nice sports car you could add some crazier stuff and some crazy light effects, but it wouldn't make sense on this car. So no Photoshop for this shot. Okay, now it gets interesting because I wanna see how this looks on this one. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I hate myself for not putting in this little lamp in here completely, but I think I was at 200 mils. I just had to zoom out a little bit and it would have been perfectly, but I cut it off and so it's kinda weird, but I'm still happy with the shot, to be honest. Here I put it in, but the person in the back just went out of my shot, so yeah. But I would say I try some further editing on this one now, because yeah, I will probably remove the lamp, but as you can see, this could take some time because I have this window here, so I really have to repeat this pattern somehow, and also up here. So I'm not doing this now on the stream because I know I would fail so many times, and with the stamp this just doesn't work with the stamp over here, because I have right here this corner and this edge, so I also have to recreate this edge over here, so this is a little bit of a work in Photoshop. I will do, or maybe not, it always depends on myself. If I think it's worth the effort, I do it. If not, not. In this case, I'm still not sure. Because now, of course, the light is distracting. I also could just come in here and to bring the attention more to the subject, I also could say, hey, just desaturate the lamp, and now it isn't that much distracting now. So that's another way I could do this. But with this whole saturation going on, it's sticking out too much. So I would probably say just bring down the saturation of this thing, just paint it more a little bit in, just to get it on the corners, do the opposite on the outside. Now it's in, and maybe darken it a little bit. Yeah, works better for me, just darken it a little bit. The same is for the top corner here, but as we know, Instagram 4x5 and we are good. And then I'm looking for maybe somewhere around here. By pressing L on your keyboard you can turn off the lights. So pressing once you turn them off halfway, pressing twice, and you just have your shot itself with the actual crop, and now you can play around and look at your image isolated with no distractions on the outside, and you really get the feel of it. How will it look if I crop it that way? I think it looks the best by using this line here, starting away from this corner. Yeah, looks kinda good. I could also try cropping in, going down, and now I have this line here and this line here, so it points somewhere, something like back down where the person is moving. So I think this doesn't work too bad. So I can make this a little bit bigger, and I stamp the rest of it out just to have it. Now I could say, fuck you, lamp. Let's see if we can fix this over here. Yeah. Nobody would notice that, so. And now the image looks kind of flat because it was an overcast day, so what I'm gonna do is, like I do 90% of my shots, just dragging in a big radial filter. Placing it somewhere on the outside by pressing O, you get, of course again, your mask. Now I'm trying to find the sweet spot. Just bringing up my highlights to make this a little bit more, to make this shot a little bit more alive. And I really like the way how this person is very dark and you can't even see his face because it makes him kind of mysterious. So what I'm doing is duplicating my radial filter, deselected, sorry. Dragging this a little bit downwards, just to have the opportunity to click both of them. And what I'm doing now is inverting this one and doing the opposite. So I'm darkening this a little bit more down. Also this a little bit more down, maybe it's too much. Somewhere around there. So it gives our image the look that the light is coming more from there and not being just flat like in this shot, because it's an overcast day, so I'm always introducing some fake light in my images with just this technique. And if I want to, I could change the color temperature, of course. I could say, hey, there was a hot sun that looks kinda very orange and yellow. You could do that because why not? I don't do it, but works pretty good, and it just rounds up your image a little bit more and introduces some sort of depth into your shot. Okay. I like the colors mostly, but what I don't like are my whites. I'm not happy with my whites in this shot. So let's see how I can change this by just pushing up the whites itself. I think that's better. A slight change, but it makes the image a little bit more pop. So what I do, I update this with current settings, and as you can see, I don't update it with my radial filters or graduated filters or anything. So because if I do a preset, they are basic, so I change all, of course, contrast, lighting, the basic colors, but I don't add filters or anything to it, because this depends always on the shot. So no filters or any, I don't know, or anything into this, just my adjustments from that I made here, but no filter or any brush or so, because it's always different. It's always something else in your shot that you need to pay attention on. So only the basic adjustments we have made here so far. So I updated this one. Let's try it on the next one. Wait, there is a cooler shot. I think, yeah, that's a nice one. That's even cooler. Yeah, so now I can really see that it's kinda crazy on the skin tones, right? So where's the music? Yeah, there we go. There we go. It really makes this guy some sort of orange red. Maybe we can fix this by pushing up. Yeah, it fixes it a little bit. So what I'm gonna do, leaving this by minus 67, and now I'm working on him just to fix the colors here a little bit and there. So invert the mask. No. Just working here on the guy. And I paint this out later, so I don't pay attention to this weird halo again. So all I do now is just put some work on him and his weird skin colors. So what I'm gonna do, I only wanna have this on the face, not on the bike. Let's try it that way. And what I'm gonna do is, yeah, this will work. So I'm painting out everything else except his skin. Now let's see. And skin tones are always very hard for me. Let's try to balance this out maybe a little bit more with bringing down the contrast on him. Yeah, this looks good. Down the saturation now a little bit. Okay, I would say maybe minus 10, and here maybe on a, it's too much. Say something like this. I mean, it's better than without, because his skin color was very, very dark and some sort of dark orange, almost too red, so this works better for me. I could brighten it up, of course, to make him shine a bit more, but I would do this now with another radial filter and do an overall edit on him. Slight push here on the shadows, a slight push here on the highlights. Maybe I bring down the exposure maybe to plus 22. Sharpen the image quite a bit. Don't use in clarity, just a little bit. So, as I said in a earlier live stream before, 15 and not above. So I never go above 15, never. So every preset I have is the highest clarity number I have is 15. So never went beyond that, because it just looks unreal if you go further. It doesn't make sense. So 15 is quite okay with, and you can use with 15 of clarity a good amount of just sharpening or texture. This works quite well in my opinion. So maybe some whites, just to make him stand out a little bit more. Now of course we are doing the opposite, resetting all of this. And what I'm doing now is just trying out, to check out this preset that I've made. Does it work, and how much editing do I need on my other shots with this preset? So far it's not too bad, it's quite normal, so it's good so far in my opinion. Yeah, this could work also nicely, but that's not good. So what I'm doing now is painting around the edges, just to make this again not weird around him, and it should be fine. So what I can do now here is, because there is a dark wall and this I don't know, I think it's the ticket station thing for the tram that was there. So what I'm doing here is I darken this one, and I'm bringing in some light from this side. That's already not too bad, to be honest. That's not too bad. Makes the shot a little bit more dynamic, and of course I could say the shadows are a little bit too dark and bring them up, and overall it's not too bad of a shot. Well, it always depends on what you like, of course, because if I say I don't use clarity too much, you can use clarity as much as you want, because it's personal preference, and I would never say to someone, hey, don't use clarity because this sucks. I mean, photography is an art, right? And we are doing our own thing, and everyone has his style and trying to build up his style and doing his things, and everyone has his little thing he has always in his shot. And maybe on yours it's clarity. I always use my radial filters to bring in a little bit of some sort of a dynamic and some fake light into my shots, because I mean, I like this much more on the right side, because it feels a little bit more alive in my opinion. Of course I could have this if I go shooting on a sunny day, but mostly I shoot on rainy days or overcast days because I love them much more. It's just you have this soft shadows and very even balanced lighting, and that's something I would never get on a sunny day. And your shots, Nelson, I love them. They're so nice. So, you are doing some portraits and also some car stuff, right? Or do you work at a car store or something? Because you always have these nice rim shots or these nice half car shots. So, I wonder, how do you find those cars? Tell me, I want to know that. I mean, I never did car shots by myself. Maybe if I find a car in a city that looks cool, hey, I do a half shot, but I'm not shooting cars at all, so I've never tried something or never asked someone. Cars are awesome, that's right, but I never tried it, to be honest. Maybe I should, or maybe I get something the next weeks, months, years to try it, but I'm not sure if you were into our group back when I did landscape, so street photography is quite new for me, so first I want to try some more street. What's this? Yeah, I did a half car shot in a few weeks ago when I was in the city for a few shots because there was a pretty nice BMW, but I don't know where I have the shot saved here on my PC because I have many city folders now from the last week, so I'm not searching for it now. Okay, you find them on the streets. Maybe you should try some half planes too, or some nice plain wheel rims shots. If that's something, I mean, that's something that's very unique, so I think nobody does that, so maybe you should try it. But I remember you told us something about that you're working or you're working with planes and building planes. Is this Boeing or what's the company? Or is this just another company that creates the cage? Or this sucks. So you're doing something illegal in your job, right? Yeah, security reasons, of course. They always tell us just security reasons, but we all know they just don't want to tell us the real story. I really need this now because this day was completely shit. And hopefully Friday will come soon. Maybe you are working on some spacecraft and you don't know it. And I love space, so if it has something to do with space, you you have to tell me that, okay? Because space is the best. So let's have a look which shot I'm... Oh yeah, I found something nice. This was where I was up at the parking lot in the city, and the problem was up there. So there was just a long window, but this window was covered with a fence, so I couldn't get out my camera. I mean, it was a thin fence, so I just pulled it out a little bit, but I couldn't get a real top-down shot from like holding my camera outside there, so it wasn't possible for me. And that's what I came up with, because there wasn't just a lot of opportunities for me to take shots up there. I mean, I fucked up this shot somehow because I focused on the traffic lights, but maybe I can get something out of this. Still don't know how to edit this shot, but maybe. As you can see, I took this on a 70 mil, so mostly I shoot on 70 to 200 in the streets. Ah, military stuff, okay. I'm using the... just a moment. I got my camera here, because I imported the shot, so... I'm using the, let me show you where it is, so... I don't know if you can see it properly. Just give it a second. Let me check this real quick. Yeah, it's the Tamron 70-200 f2.8, so... it's quite a nice lens. I love it. I mean, it was for about 800 bucks. It's for an APS-C camera. I'm still shooting on APS-C. It's Sony A-mount from 2012. Still using it. I'm happy with this camera, but the low light capabilities are not the best, and this is something I encountered on this day when I was shooting. It went dark and I was in the city, and my shots went up to ISO 3200. Already this shot was taken on 4:30, I think. Yeah, 4:30 or almost 5 p.m. Yeah, almost 5 p.m. and now it's days getting shorter, and it was quite bright, but it already was a little bit dark, and as you can see, I was on ISO f2.8 and on ISO 160 on f2.8 at 5 p.m. So I was there 1 more hour or 1.5 more hour, and it was almost dark, and my shots went up to ISO 3200 and they were noisy as hell. So no, it's absolutely nothing wrong, but APS-C cameras perform very bad in low light situations, and that's just because the sensor is smaller and the pixels are very closer to each other. So pixels are smaller and the sensor is smaller, so each pixel gets less light, and that's the problem. So you need a higher ISO, and hopefully I get a full frame camera by next year, because I'm shooting on this camera since 2012 and now it's 2020, and this camera has many shots already taken, so I'm kinda scared if not anything will break, because Sony said about 30,000 shutter releases, and I think I'm way beyond this, so... but it's working. The only problem I have, the mount gets kinda loose. So, I mean, you can't see this on stream, I think, because... no, you wouldn't see that, but it's... I can push the lens maybe a millimeter back and forth. So I can turn it just a little bit, and sometimes, if this happens to me, it unplugs my my lens from my camera. So it not detaches this, but the camera don't recognize my lens. So I'm standing there shooting with f0 and this sucks. And I think this problem appears more and more, so it's time to switch for me, but I can't afford it now, so not yet. Maybe by mid or end of next year, so let's pray this camera will hold its what it is. I mean, it's Sony, I love Sony and I love this shot. That's a pretty dope preset we've created here so far. It's not too faded. I mean, I pushed this up quite a bit. Of course, there are sometimes some presets to download where you find something like this. And I'm like, what? Doesn't make sense, right? So, this shot works quite good. I mean, I was a bit too tight on this one, 105mm, so of course it's APS-C, 105mm on APS-C times 1.6. So I was, to be honest, on not 105, I was something around 170, maybe, something around this. I mean, if you use a 70-100 on an APS-C camera, you don't have 70-100, you have 105 to 300, and that's crazy. So that's something I would miss if I switch to a full frame camera. So let's see what I can pull off this shot, or pull out of this shot again, because the whites are now pretty good. I love them. So the whites work pretty well now with the scene. They are not too white, they are not too orangey or something. They play with nice contrast with each other color in this shot. So what I can try, let's see. I took yeah, here I switched the camera in landscape, and of course the focal plane changes and fucked up the shot, of course. And I always manual focus, right? So autofocus, I can't autofocus it, because if I use autofocus on this camera, my lens would go like, I don't know, it would take 2 seconds to focus on something because it's very slow. But manual focusing is better in my opinion, because you take your time with your shot. You're not just holding up your camera, boom, and you got the shot. Let's move over to the next one. With manual focusing, you really sit down, focus on your shot, and you build up a connection with your scene. And that's what you don't get with just pulling the autofocus and boom, triggered, next one. I did this a lot, but not in Street so far, because it wouldn't work out. I have only 15 autofocus points, so keep that in mind. 15 autofocus points is not a lot. It's like nothing. It's like 0. And they cover up maybe 40% of the screen. I can show it to you. I'm not sure if you can see it. Just give me a second. Yeah. It's too funny. So, just give me a second. I hope you can see this. Let's see. Just a second. Yeah, these are my autofocus points. So as you can see, these are in the middle of the screen, so I don't have more. I can't use them. It's just, if you frame something very outside of your image, it doesn't work. So all I have to do is focus manually, and I love it. Of course, I miss 90% of my shots, but the shots that I take and they are good, I'm so happy and so glad about that. back when I started with street photography, I took maybe about 300 shots and I had maybe 3 or 4 usable shots, and now by taking the same amount of images, mostly per shooting day, something between 300 and 400, I'm shooting 1 or 2 hours most of the time, and I have mostly something about 40 or 50 shots that I can work with. So I improved this whole thing quite a lot in the last weeks, and it works. It's just slower, but it works, and I'm happy about that. And I think if I will upgrade to a Sony A7 III maybe, that's what I have in mind, but not yet, because I have to switch my whole system from A mount to E mount. So I made some, well, let's say I put everything together online, so if I switch I pay the whole thing, so not just the camera and one lens, I pay everything I need once, and these are about 5,500 bucks, so will take some time until I get this, but that's just a camera, so the camera body, a 70 to 200 lens, because I shoot on this camera the most, on this lens the most, a 24 to 70 and one prime lens. This would be an 85mm, so 24 to 70, 70 to 200 and an 85mm prime lens. I don't shoot wide angle anymore, so I tried it in streets, but I don't know. I can't get used to. I'm more the ninja and hiding somewhere far back and taking a shot of the action. Yeah, that's a lot of money and I don't have it, and it sucks because Sony said once we are working on a new A-mount camera, but they don't do it, and they never said A-mount is dead. So that's, as a customer, it sucks because you are waiting on something, and I was like, yeah, I have now A-mount, and if I switch, it won't be something that's just like, yeah, doing it like changing your underwear every day, because I spent a lot of money on the A-mount because they say A-mount isn't dead, and now A-mount is dead, and so I have to switch, and I can't sell this camera because nobody buys an A-mount. So I'm sitting here and waiting. What is going on with this? Let's put the clarity down. Okay. I think I'm getting a pretty nice streamy edit now on this one. I duplicate that one, reset this, invert this, and bring this a little bit more to the left. I wouldn't sell it anyways, because it's a camera I have now for so many years and I built up some connection to it, so I had quite the journey with this little baby, so I wouldn't sell it anyways. So maybe of course the lenses, yeah, but even the lenses I can't sell because nobody needs a lens for A-mount, or almost nobody. I've sold last year a fisheye lens, 8mm from Valimax, I guess was the brand, for maybe $100 or something. It's no, not even 100. I think it was 80 or so. So not that much, but I had no need for it. That it was just laying around, and so I've sold it. And yeah, also have a 50mm macro lens, and 50mm for macro just sucks. That's how it is, it's just shit. But I tried to sell it and nobody bought it because nobody needs it. That's the problem. But yeah, I will store this on a shelf or something. I will build something and give this whole stuff a nice place to live on. So that's what I have in my mind if I switch. And I think that's the best thing I can do so far. Oops. Always forget to invert things. Or de-invert or re-invert. Maybe I can add some clarity to the ground, because concrete and rocks always work well with clarity most of the time, and they are even a little bit wet. So let's see what I can pull out of this area here at the bottom. Looks like not too much. Okay. Yeah, that's maybe one way, but I wouldn't sell it because I really have no idea how long this camera will hold up. So probably it breaks tomorrow, probably in 5 months, but as I mentioned before, the mount where the lens sits, it wiggles a little bit, so this thing will be something for my shelf. Put some nice lights behind it and call it. This is where the journey started, and I mean, I love photography. It's probably one of the best things that I tried out in my life, because it gets you moving, you can be creative and you can do stuff, and you know that as well. Because if I look at your stuff, you're doing great stuff, and I can see you enjoy this whole process. Now I want to see what happens if I push this to a very cold side. Okay. Okay, I mean, that's way too cold. Looks also really cool. But I don't want to change it because we are working on this preset. Maybe what I want to change is, let's turn off our filters now, because there is some problem in the shot, or with the preset itself. It's in my shadows. Yeah. I bring up the shadows now to a 20, and the highlights I bring up to a 60. Okay, this works better. Yeah. Now I bring back my filters. Of course, it's kind of way too bright, but I like this glowy look on it, so I will leave it by that. Looks sounds kind of like Christmas. It's not Christmas yet. So, okay, these were another shot from up there. Of course, I missed the focus because I saw it too late. What's going on now? All is good. Okay. Sadly, I missed the focus because he had a nice hoodie. I mean, it's working somehow because the focus is up here and not down there. It's sometimes really hard to get the focus right with a 70-100. I don't know why, but the focal plane is sometimes so small. It's very hard to get it done. And if you look top down, it's even harder. So I was quite struggling up there. So definitely something I have to do more because it's something completely different. But it isn't too bad. So that's the shot I have posted a few days ago. I cropped this in a little bit and also masked out a few things, or stamped them out because there were some. Let me show you this one, for example. Yeah, there were some lines in the shot that so like this stuff here, I just stamped it out because it ruined the shot, but it was the only crosswalk that was shootable from up there to getting an angle like this, so sadly. I love this shot a lot because it's very, how to say it, it's very minimalistic, if that's the right word, but it's just the walkway and the person, nothing else. So the negative space is very clean on a shot like this. It works always, and you see it very often on Instagram. Sometimes with, I don't know, weird edits with just 100 lines. Yeah, thank you. And I also missed the focus on that shot. So from this one, so I did some sharpening to get it to a point, because with 70-100, if you don't have something to focus on and you don't have, you just have the floor, on f2.8, if there is a person walking down there, the head level is out of focus because it's almost 2 meters or 1 meter and 60 or 70 above the ground. So you always have to focus a little bit back to get this somehow done, and that's kind of hard, in my opinion. But in the end, it worked out pretty good, so I'm happy with this shot. Now it gets interesting, because this was already where it went kinda dark, so... And that's with our street test. I also have street fresh, so... Not sure what preset I use or how I take this shot with editing, because I have some blues in the shot and some oranges, so something like street fresh would work pretty good on this one. Maybe the new preset looks good, it's kind of faded, but it's very one-sided, so it doesn't work too well with the color palette I have already in the shot, so maybe like that. That's the preset I made in the last stream, by the way, or at the first stream. Yeah, it was the first stream ever I did, so I think you probably know this location, so yeah, this was the faded, kinda more on the bright, the bluish side made back there. That's the actual one, so Let's see if I can find any other shot that works pretty well with this one. Maybe that one. That's nice. I like that. That's really good. Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, if I look back on my Instagram to the first shots I've made and uploaded, I had a really how to say that, I put out a lot of contrast, so my images were very flat. And I will definitely do some re-edits of those shots because all those edits, I didn't like them. If I look at them now, I'm like, what have I done? Of course I will keep them on my Instagram because it's progress. It shows the progress of editing I did in Streets. But I will definitely re-edit some of them and re-upload a few of them because they have much more potential, in my opinion. They're not the best shots, but I can get a little bit more out of them. Yeah, that's right. So, and that's just how it is. So it's not deleting it because it sucks. It's good to have something to look back. Just to have a look on some things and think about what can I do better on my next one or my next edit. And to be honest, that's somehow something we can learn from it. And I always I don't know how to say that, I always look very close to others' work because I always compare work from others with my work, and not in, of course, if it's a street shot you can't compare a scene from here in Europe with a scene in Japan or something, but I compare it with editing. So I always try to figure out how someone achieved this kind of look. And once you know that, you get better in editing and you also learn something about how the shot was created, because it always needs a specific lighting for a specific edit. Of course, nowadays with digital editing we can do more stuff, but it always depends on your raw file, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe your thoughts are different on this one. Exactly, and that's always something I try to tell you. If you try to figure out what daytime was this shot, what's the tools he had, or of course you can't. No one can tell which camera someone used on the final shot. Nobody, because it will mostly look. Every shot will look kinda the same. They're edited, but you can't say, okay, this is taken with a Sony, with a Canon, with a Fuji, with a Nikon or anything. So. But that's not what I mean, I'm just talking about the process itself. So you can always learn something by just looking at a picture and thinking about what daytime was it. That's something you can tell. Of course, if you look at a shot like this, I would say, okay, even if it's edited, it was a cold day, maybe a rainy day. So during the day, a rainy day and probably overcast because it's raining, and that's a good starting point to get a shot like this by yourself and then try to edit the shot like the example you have. So that's always something I try from time to time to get a little bit more into the process of editing and understand how other people do their work. And it keeps yourself creative, so always try that. Oh, but also Street Fresh is nice on this one. It's kinda noisy. So as you can see, I'm already on ISO 1000. So this was, I guess, after 5 PM it went already a little bit dark there. So, and if I do some editing here, my camera already start to pull out some noise. So you can't see it here, so looks fine, maybe a little bit there, but with editing on it, you can see it clearly. I don't know if you can see it on the stream because of the quality, but I'm here looking at a 4K screen and I can see it clearly. I would say I will try this shot now with, of course, this one again. Yeah, catch you too, bro. And I hope you enjoyed this so far. I mean, it was a little bit of a nice talking between you and me. Sadly, not too many people came in, but it's the beginning, of course, so everyone started from somewhere. And I will say, see you next time, and I will catch you in the gram, of course. So, have a nice evening, bro. And have a nice sleep. Hopefully. Yeah, sadly I don't have a swipe up link, so that's one reason why not many people are joining, so, but maybe next time. So, see you Nelson, have a nice day, bye, and thanks you for coming by. Oh, Andrea, you're still here. You're so quiet. Or maybe you are just tired. Because I am. I came back from work at 7 PM. Had to do the dishes, had to do the laundry, had to eat, and I started streaming at 9 PM, so. And I also posted on Instagram, so. This was kinda stressful. I still need a shower, so haven't time for that yet. And thank you, yeah, I like this one really much on this one. So now I'm still trying to find a nice place for this filter here on the shot. So I will leave this preset as it is for now, because it works on most of the shots that I've tried so far very well, without any bigger issues. So I mean, if I try it on this one, it should work too. It's not in focus, but doesn't matter. Yeah, it works. It's working. Yeah, it's definitely working on this. But now I have to figure out how to bring out my highlights here on this jacket a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm drawing a radial filter over here, because I don't want to touch the upper area. That's already really bright. I want to turn this down later on. What I'm gonna do now is playing around with my highlights. Of course, first of all, if you draw it, make sure it's inverted. gonna paint out this area over there. Then I get some weird fringing over here. Yeah, maybe turn off auto mask. And paint it in a little bit more again. Okay, just to fix this, I think I'm gonna, yeah, paint it in a little bit more, just to smooth it out. Yeah, this works nice. Works really good. So, as you can see, I have still some issues here with the highlights. Yeah, gets better now. So, painting them out in the background to make them more like a silhouette. This looks pretty good. So what I'm doing now is the bottom of this shot. First, I crop it 4x5. Bringing this down. Just darkening with L on the keyboard. Now I'm trying to find. I think that's pretty good because the upper third now is here the tree, the building, and no person in it, so I think this works the best for this shot. And because the lower part of the image is already pretty dark, I darken this even a little bit more. Yeah. Works pretty nice. And also what I'm gonna do, I'm dragging now a radial filter and I use this as a vignette. So let's make this smaller. Make sure for this filter it's not inverted, and now I'm bringing this down even further. -66, that's good. I like that. Bringing back up the shadows just a little bit. But overall, it's a pretty dope shot. Yeah. Like that. Yeah, thank you. And as you can see, creating a preset is just a time saver. It's just something I can use over and over again and just do all the rest of the editing with some radial filters and some slight adjustments to get the look that I want, instead of working everything and every time from start to finish. That's why it hurts that I lost all my presets today and have to recreate them. But, well, I can change it anyways, so no worries. Maybe? Yeah, put the shot of the same guy. You know, again, some other guys. It's just a random shot, but isn't too bad. And there was so this Saturday there was the first Christmas market thing. I don't know the word in English, but so they sold Mandeln and Maroni. I don't know the word in English. But I hadn't time to buy something. There were too many people on the right side. Not a good shot at all. Didn't work out very well. This could be not too bad. Yeah. So what I always do is shooting kann man ja auch mal kurz Deutsch reden. Von wo genau? Oder wo ungefähr genau? Braucht man es da jetzt nicht sagen im Stream. Ah, Graz. War ich schon lange nicht mehr. Das letzte Mal in Wien, aber Graz Ist schon ziemlich lange her. Aber es ist auf jeden Fall eine super nice Stadt. Es war ja schon die Überlegung, ob ich nicht dieses Wochenende nach Graz fahre, aber leider nicht. Maybe, vielleicht so in 1-2 Wochen eventuell. Dass ich dann dort mal eben ein bisschen Streetphotography mache, aber zuerst hätte ich mir gedacht mit der Freundin dieses Wochenende, aber na. Muss nur arbeiten, Freitag bis um 7 abends und ja, Samstag nicht wirklich Bock drauf, um ehrlich zu sein. Weil ich habe da trotzdem ungefähr 3 Stunden Autofahrt und ja. Wenn ich dann schon eine ganze Woche arbeiten war, nein. Muss ich dann nicht haben. Okay. Mach ich nicht so. Der Nigels, yes. Wie geht's? Ja, voll. Was wird man sonst machen in der Arbeit? Hast du Nachtschicht? Heftig. Also nix Kurzarbeit bei dir. Und ich weiß eh nicht, ob das überhaupt noch wer hat. Wahrscheinlich eh nicht. Ja, voll ist eh für den Arsch. Ich hab's auch nicht gehabt, aber Homeoffice eben mal für 3 Monate, nein, 5 Monate glaube ich war ich Homeoffice. Das war schon nice. Das war ziemlich nice, muss ich sagen. Besser geht's kaum. Ja, passt schon. Hey. Ein schöner Arbeitstag noch. Und hackel nicht zu viel. Ist das nicht gesund? Hattest du einen Jobwechsel vor, oder? Aber ich glaube, das ist doch jetzt irgendwie ziemlich schwierig, oder? Mit der ganzen Corona-Sache und irgendwie sehr viele sind arbeitssuchend und irgendwo niemand will so recht Leute einstellen, weil sie auch nicht wissen, wie es wird. Oder ist der aktuelle Job nicht mehr so sicher aktuell, oder? Ach so. Ja, das geht bei mir auch nicht. Da habe ich weit zu viel zu tun. Ich meine, ich könnte mir schon mein Handy irgendwo am Arbeitsplatz so hinstellen, aber jetzt keine Zeit, dass ich drauf schaue. Man, es gibt bei mir in der Arbeit die Regelung, wenn man jegliche Arbeit erledigt hat, die man erledigen muss, darf man soziale Medien kann ich so auch nutzen, so nebenbei, das ist aber kein Problem. Mache ich zwar selten, aber man darf dann auch Netflix schauen oder so, also das ist von der Firma dann auch erlaubt, aber der Fall tritt eigentlich nie ein, deswegen ja. Vielleicht im Nachtdienst da schon, vielleicht mal, aber normalerweise nicht. So. Nach diversen Tests kann ich jetzt auch sagen, das Preset funktioniert. Super. Ja, das funktioniert. Super. Okay. Passt. So, ich werde den Stream da jetzt für heute beenden. Das ist eine gute Frage. Ich habe leider meine ganzen Landschaftsfotos nicht mehr am PC, die sind schon auf der externen Festplatte. Also ich habe es leider schon. Ich kann es nicht probieren, aber ich werde jetzt das Preset generell uploaden. Ist dann auch wieder unter dem Link bei meinem Instagram drinnen. Unter Free Presets. Und du kannst es gerne ausprobieren. Also überhaupt kein Problem, ist gratis. Nicht umsonst, aber gratis. Könnte auf jeden Fall funktionieren, wenn es ein Foto ist, was jetzt nicht bei Sonnenschein gemacht worden ist. Also wenn es an einem regnerischen Tag ist, könnte es auf jeden Fall funktionieren. Also ich werde es in den nächsten 10 Minuten, 15 Minuten sowas dann uploaden. Ich muss noch exportieren und vor allem auch noch mal schauen, ob ich noch irgendwo meine ganzen Presets finden kann, weil ich hab's mir irgendwo abgespeichert, das weiß ich soweit, aber ich weiß nicht mehr wo. Alzheimer lässt grüßen, wie man so schön sagt. Aber macht nichts. Okay, dann sage ich mal danke fürs Vorbeischauen und ja, nächsten Mittwoch gibt es wieder einen Livestream und heute gibt es was Neues, generell eine gewisse Videoserie. Aber dazu dann erst mehr, wenn es soweit ist. Vermutlich somit Ende nächster Woche. Bin ich zumindest da ziemlich gehypt für das. Wenn ich das endlich ankündigen kann. Weil ich habe das selbst noch nicht gemacht. Deswegen mal schauen. Okay. Dann sage ich es jetzt auch nochmal auf Englisch. So, thank you for watching. If you like this video or this live stream, please subscribe, leave a comment down below, push the like button, it helps me out a lot, and I will see you guys if you're rewatching this after this live stream, every Wednesday evening here live, doing this every week as far as I can. If not, I will let you know on my Instagram or even here on YouTube. And I would say thank you so much for joining. I will upload the preset now. You can download it on my Instagram channel. There is a link in my bio, and it's for free. So see you next time. Take care and have a nice week, and always stay creative. So have a good one. Goodbye.